with me to talk a bit then about those tensions between Israel and Paris. Our French politics editor, Marc Perelman, with me now. Marc, what do you make of this spat?
It's very unusual to have this open spat. We've seen declarations, counter-declarations, statements over, first of all, arms shipments to Israel that Emmanuel Macron would like to be curtailed. France is not exporting weapons to Israel, but other countries, first and foremost, the U.S. is. And now this spat about the UN decision dating back to the late 1940s, clearly the tension has been rising between Macron and Netanyahu. It's very personal. The first key problem took place a few weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. France and the United States were negotiating a ceasefire in Lebanon with Benjamin Netanyahu, with the Lebanese authorities, and indirectly with Hezbollah, and there had been an agreement in principle that such a ceasefire would take hold. Benjamin Netanyahu, however, decided to pull the trigger and actually engage the operation that would eventually kill the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. This was felt as a betrayal, quote unquote, by France, by the U.S. France has expressed this more vividly than the U.S. But let's not forget that the relationship between Benjamin Netanyahu and Joe Biden is not good, to say the least. They just spoke a few days ago after 7 weeks. It's a lot of not speaking at all. And as was reported by investigative journalist Bob Woodward in his latest book, Joe Biden has a very, very low opinion of Benjamin Netanyahu. So you see the tensions flaring over because the war in Gaza is continuing. War in Lebanon is now taking place, and there's obviously the threat of a regional war between Israel and Iran.
And those comments by Emmanuel Macron about the establishment of the State of Israel have drawn reaction from the Council of French Jewish Institutions. Let's just take a listen to the chairman.
To reduce the creation of the State of Israel to a UN decision is in effect to symbolically reduce the legitimacy of the State of Israel. And at a time when anti-Semitism is used to criticize the State of Israel, sometimes even challenge its right to exist, we think it's an unfortunate statement.
And Marc, look, he's talking there about this idea of reducing the legitimacy of the State of Israel. How high do you think the risk is politically for Macron that he will anger the Jewish community in France, a significant constituency here?
Yes, and well, it is happening. And it's very rare to see those feelings expressed in public. He obviously represents an institution, but we've also seen the MP who represents the French living abroad, including in Israel, who is from Emmanuel Macron's own camp, expressed the same criticism, saying she doesn't understand what Emmanuel Macron is doing, both when he called for stopping weapons shipments to Israel or when he seems to question the legitimacy of Israel. But clearly, we're seeing people talking past each other. Emmanuel Macron, in the cabinet meeting, those are words that were then echoed by unnamed sources, said, Israel should not attack the UN because Israel was in a way created through a UN resolution. It's factually true, but this is seen by Israel and the Jewish community here as an attack on the birth of Israel and therefore its legitimacy. So yes, there is a real risk that Emmanuel Macron could anger the Jewish community, and he's having to play a balancing act in a context that is very, very where emotions are running high between the Jewish community and the Muslim community. Let's remind our viewers that France has the largest Jewish and Muslim community in Europe, and therefore this is a very, very tense issue, not only geopolitically but also politically.
Thank you very much, Marc Perelman, for us there.